You know, the ancient Egyptians had a beautiful belief about death. When their souls got to the entrance to heaven, the gods asked them 2 questions. Their answers determined whether they were admitted or not.
Okay. I'll bite. What were they?
Have you found joy in your life? Answer the question.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Answer the question. Have I found joy in my life?
Yes.
Yes.
Has your life brought joy to others?
Hello, listening people.
Hello.
Hello, Bartek. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Jack Nicholson?
My man Ray. My main man Ray. I'm doing excellent. Thank you, buddy. I'm just doing great.
See,
it's me, crypto. not the
Jeez,
currency.
Parks.
Isn't it bad that if I just say it's me, Crypto, people think I'm not talking about the great character Crypto Spiridion from the amazing game series Destroy All Humans?
It took me 0.7 of a second to realize, oh, you're doing a cool thing.
I'm doing an excellent thing.
I thought the game was Destroy All Humans.
But no, I'm doing very well.
It's Ryan.
It's me, Ryan, and you're Bartek, and we are spit and polished likingly because we're always spitting, and...
We both coincidentally just happen to be Polish.
That's correct!
Isn't it so funny that the saying of spit and polish something to shine it up can apply to us?
Did you know, everyone, although we are both Australians, we both happen to have, Polish ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
And we are actually recording this episode right now, live from Poland. You can tell by the amazing green screens behind us that are showing a snowy landscape that looks totes real. Looks really real. I know you can't see it, but you can feel the green screen behind us. But we are actually in Poland right now. And Bartek, what's happening in Poland right now? What's the news?
Well, there's a guy looking at us right now. I don't know what. Oh, I think it's Andrzej Duda.
I knew you were going to do it. I knew it. Yes, it's Andrzej Duda.
I don't think he's got much of a job right now. So
wait, he's actually begging for change. Oh, Andrzej, I'm so sorry that the Polish politics didn't give you some form of superannuation, but
yeah.
I don't have any Polish money to give you, I'm afraid. What is Polish money?
So it's got a dollar and cent system. The dollar is złoty, which means gold, basically.
Oh, cool.
And I don't know what this one means, but the cents are groszy.
Oh, yes, you've said this one
Which
before,
amuses me
groszy.
because it's almost the exact same as the word for the vegetable peas.
Oh, which is...
It's like groszki.
Oh, groszki and grosze.
Groszy and groszki.
It sounds like you're trying to say grocery, almost, in the English slang tongue. Ugh.
Oh, I'd buy that for a złota. Złoty is like plural złota?
Yeah.
For a złot?
I would hope so. But we here are talking about movies on our show Pictures Powwow, in which we sit down and discuss a film that has come recommended. Today was a recommendation brought to us by one of you, the listening people, because we do take suggestions, but we also recommend films ourselves. One week it will be my recommendation, then it's you, the listening people, and after that it is Bartek's turn to recommend. And Bartek, you go even further in terms of making your recommendations special. Like, I just choose whatever films I choose, and maybe there's a rhyme or reason to it. Oftentimes it's just, I feel like this movie, but you have an extra method to your madness.
Yes. I decided when we started Pictures Powwow to put a fire under my ass to, make sure I don't get lazy. And that is that every second pick, I have a 2-pick cycle where I pick a Hollywood film one time, and then the next time I'll pick a non-Hollywood film. Just that simple. One film that's made with American cooperation, another with no American cooperation. And I've only fucked up twice.
What were the 2 times? I cannot recall.
So, one of them, for an American pick, I picked Una. I just completely forgot that was just a very British film.
Yeah, because it had Ben Mendelsohn in it. I'm like, oh, he's Australian.
Yeah, so that was just like a complete brain fart. I'm like, oh, whoops, messed up. And then the second one, I'm like, oh, well, that's a Hong Kong film. Enter the Dragon. Oh, it's an American co-production? Shit.
Oh, we all make our mistakes, but don't you worry. We'll forgive you because today we're talking about a film that is all about looking back on life and reconciling the fact that maybe we didn't achieve the things we wanted to achieve, or maybe we had some failures along the way, but also there's success in our past, but also there's so much to our future yet to be founded. We are here to talk about a movie that came recommended from someone you know, Bartek.
Yes. The main character of Ashes and Diamonds, Maciek, he lived and he wanted to recommend a
Spoiler
movie.
for Ashes and Diamonds, by the way. He does live.
Yeah, spoilers. Maciek lives. No, it's my stepbrother, Maciek, who's recommended to us quite a number of films at this point. I think this might be like the 5th or 6th one at this point. But this time he has recommended us the 2007 Rob Reiner film, The Bucket List.
Starring Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
What a duo. I do believe I read that Morgan Freeman had on his bucket list to work with Jack Nicholson, and he got to do it.
That was the IMDb trivia.
IMDb trivia.
Is this our first film with Morgan Freeman as a lead? Like the main character?
Is this also our first film with Jack Nicholson as the lead?
Well, we've done Prizzi's Honor.
Oh, that's actually correct, yes. That will be enough. Witches of Eastwick I don't think counts because he's the antagonist.
It's the 3 girls.
It's the 3 women, yes.
3
Morgan
chicks.
Freeman, yeah, because we've had him play God.
Yeah, God. We've had him in Lucy.
Yeah, Lucy.
There might have been some other ones.
I'm sure he did some voiceover work and things, but no, this is the first time, I do believe, and this is also the first Rob Reiner directed joint I think we've covered.
I looked
he
this
has
up.
shown up in things we've watched, I'm fairly sure. I want to say
it
he was in Dickie Roberts as himself.
I looked it up on the way here because I'm like, I think we've had him or like done some of his stuff, but I think it's literally only Dickie Roberts.
Yeah, because he plays himself in that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was himself. But,
yeah, I looked him up on the way.
Yeah, Rob Reiner.
That's the only thing I could find.
Rob Reiner. But this is also the first directed film of his we've ever done, and what a feature. Everyone, if you've not seen The Bucket List, the summary of it is fairly simple. You may know it already from just the term itself, which apparently, according to IMDb and many, many contentious debates online, this coined the term, or the phrase bucket list didn't exist before this movie.
Yeah,
blah, 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 blah,
seems
blah.
to be a lot of debate in the anthropology of humanity about where this came from and what
spawned
popularized it. Yeah,
the term, not even just the idea. The term.
We can at least agree that this film popularized it and the concept.
Oh, of course, I can agree with that. But this is a film about 2 older gentlemen who are suffering from terminal cancer, and they're strangers, and they must reconcile their differences. They become friends, and they travel the world, allegedly. And tick off lists and items and events and desires from their bucket list, and maybe they'll become better people along the way. But also, is this selfish of them?
Yeah, it's
questions asked?
Exploring it from a bunch of different angles. Because just to be clear, they are told, without question, at best, you guys have a year left.
You have a year left.
Jack Nicholson, you're actually 6 months, but if you're lucky,
and
bit more.
And everyone, spoilers are now happening, so please watch the film. Spoiler alert: Jack gets more time than that.
Yeah,
he gets a lot more time than that. It's indicated. So, oh boy, because it's
the film plays you a little bit because the opening narration, it's Morgan Freeman talking about Jack Nicholson's death.
Wait, are you telling me a film is narrated by Morgan Freeman? What are we watching? Shawshank Redemption? This can't be right.
Are you trying to tell me that Morgan Freeman has a voice that's nice to listen to?
I like Jack's voice because in this entire film, he sounds exactly like his rich Texan millionaire character from Tim Burton's Mars Attacks. I don't know if it's just his character that he's playing here, or if this is just an older Jack Nicholson, but throughout this entire movie sounded like a caricature of Jack Nicholson. It's because I've seen him in many things. I only saw him recently in The Departed. I rewatched The Departed again, and he's doing a bit of an accent in that, so it's a bit different. But he is just so hammy in this movie, and that's not to say that he doesn't get any dramatic pieces. He surely does, but his voice specifically reminded me of his cartoon character out of the two he plays in Mars Attacks. He plays the president in Mars Attacks, and then he plays this rich oil tycoon who like wants to build a hotel or a casino or something. And it's just so funny that throughout this movie he was playing that. His voice was that character, but nothing else was. It was just, I don't know if you've ever had that where you've watched a performance and you're like, they're using this character voice, there's like this other's character's voice, but they're playing a drastically different character.
Sounds like a familiar concept.
Yeah. Especially with voice actors, I would imagine. Where it's like, hey, Mark Hamill's using his Joker voice, but he's not playing the Joker. That's fucked up.
Yeah. It's not that extreme, but I guess one example that pops to mind is Tom Kenny. Obviously, one of the big roles he does is SpongeBob. You know, the classic SpongeBob voice. This one, and it's often used for comedy and silly situations. And I grew up playing the Spyro the Dragon games, and he's the voice actor of Spyro and a lot of other NPCs in the second and third game. And there's one level in the second game, it's Hurricos, I think it's called, where the natives of that level are voiced by Tom Kenny doing the SpongeBob voice, but he's not like doing anything really silly with them. It's just him speaking fairly neutrally, and it always was interesting to me. Like, oh, I know he's a bunch of people in this game, but here it really sticks out that it's like, oh, it's the SpongeBob voice, but without the energy, kind of.
So, back to this bucket list. I've never seen this film before, but I knew of it. I remember the advertisements. I've seen the poster. I like both these actors. But it just never attracted me because it seemed like a saccharine, corny movie for old people.
Mm-hmm.
This seemed like a old person's wish fulfillment. This is a film that, if it wasn't for who the two leads are, I would doubt would be a theatrical release. This screams Sunday afternoon television type movie that you would watch and just forget about. Like, oh, I watched that because I had nothing to do when you're like 7 years old or 9 years old and you're stuck at home and like, oh, this is on in the background. Like, this is a movie that I've never been interested in watching, even though I like Jack Nicholson, and considering that he's pretty much retired at this point, this is one of his later movies. So if you are a fan of his, you have to watch this eventually because it's one of his late entries. But Morgan Freeman, it's always fun to see him in movies. He was doing a lot of interesting projects around this time, whether they be comedic or dramatic, and this is kind of in the middle of both. This film reminded me very much so, not in what it's about, but its feeling, in the mood, the tone, the feeling, of a little bit more drab version of Tom Hanks' Larry Crowne. This is a double feature with Tom Hanks's Larry Crowne. It's a little bit more drab, a little bit more sad, but it's like midlife crisis. What have I done with my life? I'm going to do some...
A bit more than mid for these guys.
Well, no, I won't disagree with you with that. They're playing older than they actually are, which is very disturbing to me because the movie's trying to tell me either Jack Nicholson is 80 years old in this, when he's clearly not, or his character lived for another decade.
Yeah, well,
Which is it?
I mean, like, becoming elderly is like 65 onwards, and I think 65 was the amount of years Morgan Freeman's character was married in this film.
He was insane.
Yeah, so...
He's supposed to be like in his 80s.
Yeah, so I
gave 45 years of my life to those kids. It's like, are you sure about that? I mean, his real life son showed up in this movie.
Yeah,
so that
was interesting.
I wish he was in it more. He was in that one scene, basically. But Bartek, what about you? What's your history with this movie?
I have seen it once before, and it wasn't, Sunday afternoon on the TV. It was year 12 at my Catholic religious school. We had a subject at that school for year 12s called House RE Religious Education. But it was, I think I explained this last episode, it wasn't really an education subject. It was like a community time thing with your house, your group of homerooms. And so there would just be a miscellaneous activities, basically kind of chill out period every once or twice a week, where we would, get together and have like a dance competition or talk about concepts or something like that. And there was this one time where it's just like, hey, for this one, we're just going to all sit down, gather around in this room and watch The Bucket List. Just a throwaway
Was
thing
it
to
new
do.
at the time, or was it out for quite some time?
It would have been, Year 12 was 2011 for me.
Yes.
This was a 2007 film, so it was a couple of years old.
Yeah, I just wanted to give the frame of reference
Yes,
for our
of course.
listeners.
Yes, so it was like 4 years old. I don't know if I'd necessarily knew much about it, if I'd heard the term before. But it seemed, I think, watching it then, that was like, oh, okay, Bucket List, it's this thing according to this film, and then I hear it everywhere. I'm like, oh, okay, so I guess this film had a wider reach. So yeah, my experience was watching it in a room full of, other guys my age. Just, okay, that's the period.
And did you like it?
It was fine. It was kind of like what you said there. It's like, oh yeah, it's two giants of the industry acting in a kind of standard film.
I watched this last night, and what an exhilarating experience it was. My wife had no interest in watching it. She was like, I'm going to bed. And then she couldn't sleep, and she came out, and it was like 32 minutes into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
She paused it. And I said to her, Rachel, stop what you're doing. Play the movie. We've just been introduced to The Bucket List. And she she went pale white and her jaw dropped. And she's like, you're fucking kidding. You've only just introduced The Bucket List?
It's a 93-minute film.
And I said, it's a 93-minute movie, so every half hour they're going to introduce what you think the movie's going to be about by 15 minutes in. Like, this film's script is so clockwork and predictable and machine-like that it's actually kind of marvelous to see it in motion, because the first half hour is tragedy porn. It's just these old men being miserable and dying. And there's some humor. I mean, Jack Nicholson is Jack Nicholson. He, even in dramatic roles, has his eccentricities. But for the most part, it's horrifying to see these old people slowly dying. And that they either have no one to care about them or they feel like they don't matter. And then eventually the bucket list concept, which is the fun, exhilarating part of the movie you're here for, is introduced 32 minutes into the film. But I had a marvelous experience with this because I was just guffawing at how on the nose and obvious everything was. I think the biggest laugh I had was the start of the film where Morgan Freeman is doing all of this trivia and his co-worker says like, oh, you really know your stuff, you're really sick. And then Morgan Freeman gets a phone call to tell him he is sick and dying, and then he drops the phone in slow motion. And you're not supposed to laugh at that. It's the film doing that thing where, see, we have a clever script, we said this thing and then the thing happened literally, huh? And it does that all throughout, and there was just so many moments where I'm just like, I said the lines of dialogue before they happened, and then they happened. And then Rachel and I were debating about like, okay, what's the thing they're going to do? This is what they're going to do. What would be more interesting? And then we would debate what would be more interesting, such as Morgan Freeman gets hit up by an attractive British lady. And you're like, well, clearly Jack Nicholson's hired her to test him, and then that's the reveal. I'm like, but wouldn't it be more interesting if it wasn't that and she was interested in him? And then we talked about what that would indicate, and then the movie was like, no, it is as simple as Jack Nicholson did it to test him, but he's pure of heart because it's Morgan Freeman. And you're like, okay, thank you, movie. All right, or the wife comes out, Morgan Freeman's wife comes out in a sexy, you're like, ooh, what's she going to get changed? And my wife's like, ooh, she's got some sexy lingerie. And I'm like, oh, I bet it's just a black dress. And then my wife's like, no, it's going to be garters and stockings. No, it's going to be a black dress.
No,
wife comes out and it's pretty much the black dress from the film Vampire Academy. It's like a slinky black dress that's not that sexy. And then Morgan Freeman's having a seizure on the floor. And I'm like, yep. We had so many moments where my entertainment was from watching the movie play out unironically in the way that you expect it to from moment to moment.
Sort of like a cliche bingo of some sort?
Yeah, it was like a cliche bingo.
Okay.
So I did enjoy this movie, but not for the reasons it wants me to.
Fair enough. Kind of similar. I wasn't playing a game with it or anything, but it's exactly what you were saying. It was a pretty standard film. I just got to, enjoy seeing Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson do their thing kind of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was it was a film that achieved what it wanted to do.
It's a film directed by one of the greatest comedy directors of all time.
Rob Reiner.
He did The Princess Bride.
Yeah, I've never actually seen The Princess
He
Bride.
did This is Spinal Tap.
Also haven't seen that.
You know, an inventive filmmaker. He did this movie too.
Yeah, look, it was... There were some interesting moments. They had a bunch of conversations about, meaning of religion, that kind of, got the brain rolling a little bit thinking about it.
And then that whatever brain rolling stopped immediately because the scene ended with "because I have faith."
Yeah,
you're like, okay.
It was one of those things where I could see the House RE thing going a bit differently if it was like a younger year level, pausing it. It's like, now what do we think about this?
Mm-hmm.
It's like putting it on the audience to like you develop these thoughts further on your own.
So
enrich yourself.
This may be hard for people to believe. People, please watch this movie so you can better understand what I'm going to lay out before you now. This film came out in 2007, correct?
Yes.
Which means it was probably shot in 2006. But this comes across like it was filmed at the height of the COVID pandemic because it's so isolated. This film's so lonely and empty. I was genuinely expecting walking in, that we were going to have a cavalcade of fun character actors as they popped up at different points of their bucket list. There's 4 people in the movie in total, really. There's the wife, there's the 2 leads, and then there's Sean Hayes as Jack Nicholson's assistant. No other people of note show up in this movie, and that's fine. But it is it is noticeable how isolated this feels, and the fact that they don't travel to any real locations ever in the movie. It's all green screens or sets. Makes it feel like this was shot during the pandemic. This reminds me so much of films and TV shows that were limited by a global pandemic, that they had to have these restrictions put on them. But this is a film way before that, and it has a bunch of money, but they clearly spent it on the 2 leads. That's where all the money went to.
Man, Ryan loves this film. He's saying it's ahead of its time.
It's really ahead of its time. It was trying to warn us. But because what I knew about the bucket list was, they travel the world. Or they go to the pyramids, they go to the Taj Mahal, they go to the Himalayas or wherever it is. And I knew that, perhaps they won't physically go to all of those places, but I expected them to actually have some level of globe-trotting. But every outdoor scene, you could tell it wasn't real. And then you notice, there's no people at any of the places they go to, or if there are, they're very minimal, or they're very segmented off.
They're the people that, run the attraction that they're doing, like the skydiving.
And they're not characters.
Yeah, you barely get a look at them because they got all the gear on.
Yeah, or they're just people in a restaurant.
Yeah, it's weird.
There's no people in this
very
movie.
you could very easily do another version of this film where it's at each of the places that they go to around the world, it's other people from different walks of life doing we're young guys, we just graduated and we're going on a trip, or yes, we've been married for 5 years and we were, struggling a little bit, so this is just, re-sparking things. What about you guys? Oh, that's an interesting way to think about it. But yeah, the film's really focused on just the interactions between the 2 leads. And that shows by, there not really being anyone else around other than occasionally the assistant.
And there's just this strange quality where you feel like you know how this type of movie should work, but they're not doing it. Imagine if Around the World in 80 Days, that movie we covered on this podcast.
Yes.
They traveled to each location and there were no people there. But we only focused on Jackie Chan and Steve Coogan. But here's the thing that bugged me too. The formula. It would always be, here's a duologue, now one of them gets a big speech. Here's a duologue, now the other one gets a big speech. Here's a duologue, maybe Sean Hayes shows up. Here's a duologue, one of them gets a big speech, the wife turns up. Duologue, big speech from one of them. It was so much, and as good as these actors are, the big speeches that they gave weren't as insightful to me, because if you cut the speech down by half, you would get the information. Jack Nicholson gives this big monologue about his daughter, but you can't take it in because he's shot like he's in Phantom Menace. Like he has this green screen background and it's so close and he's so obviously fake that I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, where's the fucking Speed Racer stuff in the back? Like he looks like he's in Phantom Menace and Speed Racer. It's actually insane how ugly this movie looks when they're not on sets. Like when they're just on green screen backgrounds. It's like I'm not expecting full realism, but I did expect realism in this movie that's supposed to be about grounded drama of two people dying.
Yeah, and there comes a point where it does its version of the third act breakup where, the globe-trotting trip ends on like a little dour note. They go their separate ways. And it feels like, they need to go on their own for a little bit, reflect, and then maybe they'll come back together and maybe do a little bit more of the trip, resume it, or, one final big thing. Because, like you said, the film begins with a very long stretch of, leading up to the premise starting.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get on the premise, it is, like you said, that very formulaic montage of, like, travel to location, and then various different dialogues, travel to another location. And it does feel when you think back on it, like a bit of a montage. Like, we need to really focus in. Where's the stretch of the film where they're just in this one location? There's like a big thing happening. So when that ends and we don't go back to it, it almost feels like, oh, yeah, those really were just, different backgrounds for their dialogue scenes.
I also was hoping that, and this isn't a criticism in a negative sense because the film acknowledges it, which is I was hoping that the bucket list would be less of a superficial thing for the characters, and each item that they checked off from their list would further them as people, but also give us a deeper understanding of each one of them. Contrast of what Jack Nicholson put on his bucket list to what Morgan put on his bucket list. But the film does counter that with the fact that Jack Nicholson always, in his mind, thought these would just be fun things to distract us before we die, while Morgan Freeman's character wanted them to be more meaningful. The problem that I have is twofold. One, so many of them, including Morgan Freeman's sections, just feel like throwaway fluff that happens.
Like getting a tattoo, yeah.
Well, yeah, that makes sense for Jack Nicholson. Like, that's the first one. Like, oh, let's get a tattoo. But the car race scene. Morgan Freeman's always like, I've always wanted this car. I've always wanted this car. And he fucking trashes this car. And I was like, so confused at what that indicated about his character. But the real thing to take away was, oh, it's just a fun scene of them driving. It wasn't really substantial and substantive. It was like, oh, okay. And then the other thing that kind of bothers me is at the end of this movie, I could barely tell you what they put on the bucket list at all. I really was annoyed when they were marking things off the bucket list. They barely lingered on enough for me to read what they wrote, and the handwriting is so squiggly that I was like, what did they write there? I'd actually had a hard time connecting to what is on their bucket list.
Yeah, thinking back on the film, the only things you really get a sense of on that bucket list are things that they happen to talk out loud about at some point in the film. I don't think there was anything that you ever see on the list that wasn't mentioned somewhere. But you can easily see a much better version of this film where, like, the look of the list, maybe like the handwriting or like the way it's structured could be like an iconic thing about it. Like, oh yeah, and they'll sell you souvenirs of like, oh yeah, it's a recreation of the bucket list with the tears and the tape.
You see the text superimposed on the screen as they're doing their bucket list.
Yeah.
Things that even Freddy Got Fingered did.
Yeah, some fun little, special effect where text appears and there's a cross thing that goes over it.
Because this is an example of you need to show us and tell us what it's about, like what's on the list and what it means, because I actually am struggling to tell you right now what were Morgan Freeman's events from the bucket list other than the car.
Okay, so Morgan Freeman had the car, and a lot of them were like more, as they said, metaphorical stuff. So it's like see something majestic was one of them.
Which got ticked off at the very end.
Yes.
By Sean Hayes.
Yes, because he'd already died.
Yeah, because both of them had died, and so it's less Sean Hayes gets to see something majestic.
The next one I was going to say, I realized is a Jack Nicholson one.
Which is?
Which is see the most beautiful woman in the world, the beautiful girl in the world.
Yep.
Which was, his granddaughter. So
That
that
was Kiss, the most beautiful girl in the
Kiss
world.
the beautiful.
That's why he kissed her on the cheek.
Yep.
Keep going.
I felt very confident because I remembered the majestic one.
Yeah.
And
which he didn't even achieve. Yeah, keep going. They went to the Taj Mahal, which seems like it's his because he is passionately talking about it. And I think that's supposed to indicate like he wanted to be a history teacher and he was talking about the history of it.
Yeah. And because he knows a lot about trivia, and a lot of those trivia are based on like things that happened in some sort of history. But
even then, you said he's a more metaphorical. That's more literal. Like, I want to visit a historical place and then talk about his historical worth. Yeah, that's what most tourists do. Like you are a big fan of Indian culture and stuff. You've been to India, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've probably went there and saw things or engaged with things that you as a person were curious about or wanted to see in real life, perhaps. Or if you did go there again, you would probably want to visit this, and this to understand more, right?
Kind of, yeah. I was part of a trip that was managed by the people that managed the trip, so I went to wherever they told me to go.
Yeah, you were herded. But, yeah. See, you were confident about it, but then at the end, it's a lot of... I remember Jack Nicholson's because he's a superficial. Like, throughout the movie, the skydiving scene. What did it give you in the end? It was just a scene that took up time?
Yeah, I guess the film was going for a thing of, like, the thing I was bringing up with the metaphor was the conversation they had in the hospital room where Morgan Freeman thinks that all of these ambitions are nice things to think about to, make you feel better. And Jack Nicholson's like, fuck that. You have to actually do them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they started off with a crazy one, like skydiving. You'd never think to do that. Let's throw you in the deep end and push you out. And, you're going to have the experience there. And I might be wrong, but I think that might have been the one where you see the list after they're done with it and he like crosses it twice, almost like, yeah, done with that kind of thing. Which was like the one interesting thing with the lists, like visually. It was like, oh yeah, I saw the way he crossed off that one twice, and I didn't even remember that was the one.
Exactly. There's it is this thing where I walked in with a certain expectation of the film.
Oh wait, did Morgan Freeman have the one with like laugh until I cry, or was that Jack Nicholson?
What was that one?
Laugh until like
yeah, what was the moment?
That was at the end when he tells him the trivia about the coffee that he's been talking about the whole film being made out of poo.
I forgot that was the thing that the tick off. I just thought that they were overacting in that scene where they were laughing a lot.
No, that was them fulfilling laughing until you cry.
Sure. I think that was Morgan's then.
I think it might have been.
But what I was going to explain was I walked in with an expectation and it did not fulfill this expectation. But is that a bad thing? Because what the movie really is about is not them ticking off things off their bucket list and informing us. It is about these duologues. Like, the most substantive character work we get is them in the hospital scenes more than them traveling around.
Mm-hmm.
Them connecting with one another, them realizing and reconciling with the fact that they are dying and how both of them react to that very differently.
Yeah, the part that your wife missed.
Yeah, the part that my wife missed, yeah. But you get it at the end as well. Like, it loops back around again, like when Morgan Freeman is ill. It loops back around to that. And it's like the middle section, it's like it's fulfilling the name of the movie, but honestly, if the movie was just a medical drama about these two men from different walks of life realizing that they're dying, like if this was just Lorenzo's Oil, I was thinking Lorenzo's Jack Nicholson version, it was still directed by George Miller because they worked on Witches of Eastwick together. I don't know. It's just that's what I think about the movie more, is just them talking to one another. But what did you feel about those conversations and these two characters overall? Because we keep referring to it as we like those actors, but is this a case of it's just we like the actors and we are fine with serviceable characterization, or is the characterization going above and beyond just our enjoyment of these two actors playing them?
I think it's like halfway between, but maybe more leaning to me enjoying the actors. Because there are some parts of this where the emotional storytelling was at least effective for me. Like there's a bit of talk about Morgan Freeman's life story, about how, we got married young, we had kids, and he goes into this big amount of detail about how once they had their first kid, that kind of got the snowball rolling for like all of the parenthood stuff in life, and he lists off a bunch of things like, recitals, school plays, parent-teacher stuff, like things that parents do for their kids, and how that was going with their first two kids. And then around the time they were done with the second kid, they'd had a daughter. And so all of a sudden, that's another 18 years on top of that. Mm-hmm. And then that was the majority of their life. And it didn't change them for the worse or anything, but it was something that occupied him the whole time. And then by the time that final child, who was much younger, was, done and living on her own, he looked at his wife and realized nothing had changed, but it feels different. Like we feel like something has been lost.
He doesn't remember what it was like before feeling the need to hold her hand.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily something that's like 100% explained. You know exactly what he's talking about, but it's got that kind of emotional storytelling where, oh yeah, I can actually kind of, dwell on these ideas and see the point he's making. And that for me was interesting, and especially listing off all of those things, like, what the parent does. It reminded me of things that my parents have said growing up, where, I lived in a household with myself and my younger brother. And when my younger brother was finally done with school, I distinctly remember my mum being so thankful she doesn't have to sign more permission slips and, contact the school about this and that. And it was like, yes, finally.
Freedom.
18 plus 6 is like 24 years of this for her. And for my dad, who is still remarried, he had another child with his new wife, my half-sister. So it's like he got a little bit of an extension where she's only just now turned 20. So only like a year, 2-3 years ago, basically he finally got to do that. So 12 years younger than me. So like 30 years for him.
Yeah.
And like, so I can relate to that to my parents and think like, yeah, that must have been a crazy experience for you, Morgan Freeman. And just, it was interesting thinking about all of that. And so a lot of the scenes with his wife coming back, like you could feel some stuff there.
I agree. And I thought she gave a great performance. I wish that the film was, how to describe it? I wish that the film was more charitable to her character. She is just played as this one note, and then they keep introducing these complex layers from Morgan saying it, not her. Like, oh, I want to see that version of this character, but in the moment of this movie, she's just constantly like high-strung throughout all of it, and I'm like, well, I'm being told that they have a really nuanced, complex relationship. I want to see that relationship. She revealed that she's a lifelong nurse at a point in the movie where I'm like, I feel like that should have been the thing you knew from the start.
Yeah, her first scene was pretty memorable for me because it's like, oh, loving wife, she's really struggling to connect with her husband. That would have been a good thing to throw in there, even just a throwaway line. So I had that in my head that like, oh, not only is this like a, emotional experience, it's also something that she's seeing the other side of for strangers.
I was more drawn to Jack Nicholson's character because it's Jack. I like him more as an actor. He's very funny. His character is the rich prick asshole who has never had to experience sickness before, so now he's learning, and he owns the hospital. That's the thing about his character, and he has all these staunch rules that now he has to abide by.
That
which
was a great way to
good.
introduce him. That was really good.
I really liked the moment where he's offering all the fancy food to Morgan Freeman, and Morgan doesn't want to eat any because he knows the chemo is going to fuck them up. And then you hard cut to Jack Nicholson vomiting, and I like that as like a great visual storytelling way of showing that Jack Nicholson's got so much to learn, and it just grounds it in things we already know about chemo and cancer and all of these treatments. I like that Jack Nicholson genuinely shaved his head in this movie. You could tell, and he, and the big scars they put on there, and like he looked really sickly. Properly, Morgan Freeman never looked sick in this movie, which was unfortunate.
He's just too cool. And
He's
calm.
just too. That's exactly it. Like everyone in the movie is facing the mortality happening with like a sense of panic or worry, but Morgan Freeman, because he is Morgan Freeman, I'm not even saying the character, like I'm putting this to the actor, is so reserved that I don't even get a sense of worry for him. Like with Jack Nicholson, his character's messy and eccentric, but he actually like has opinions and feelings shown about like this situation. And Morgan Freeman's, it is I'm told them.
Yeah, when Jack Nicholson looks in the mirror and sees how pale he is and goes, Jesus, like you can feel it, like, yeah, man, look at you. But Morgan Freeman, and I guess the film is kind of going for it with like, he's trying to act like everything will be all right.
He knows hardships, so this isn't new for him.
Yeah, he's always so calm. He's like, reading his book, watching the TV, answering trivia questions as he is. And, even when his wife is like, baby, call me when everything's over. And it's like, it's all good.
He's always underplaying it, like when he starts bleeding at the restaurant and he has to go to the bathroom to clean up and then he's trying to play it like it's all fine. He's always trying to play things off as okay. He does have a few moments, like the kind of more explosive back and forth with his wife, where he's like putting his foot down.
Yeah, and it is consistent with some of the stuff we learned in his backstory, where when he described, my ambitions were to be, history professor. I did a little bit of university, but then, wife got pregnant and I needed to, and he phrased it something along the lines of like, find the most convenient job that pays well enough or something.
He was young, black, and broke, so he had to accept whatever job came along.
I think that's exactly what he said, yeah. So it's like, he's able to look after himself by, calmly finding the solution. And it's like, okay, panicking won't help. I'll try to be calm. And, that can stress other people out when they're, panicking much more than you.
Morgan Freeman, as an actor, has hit this certain echelon. I like him as a performer, but I don't think I've really experienced enough of him to say that I love him as an actor, because he always is playing Morgan Freeman to me. As much as I love Jack Nicholson, I have seen him in a variety of different types of roles where I can tell you what the Jack Nicholson isms are, but I could also tell you how this role and this one, he plays them differently. And how young Jack Nicholson is different to old Jack Nicholson. Morgan Freeman, to me, he always plays this character. So I don't have a real affinity towards him because, well, he's always this guy. He's always this character, and I'm not blown away by him as an actor as much. No, it works when it works. Shawshank Redemption, great movie. Great movie. He's playing this character. Just character.
They all feel kind of the same.
And I think the most interesting thing to me about Morgan Freeman and his legacy as an actor is the debate people have, or the kind of, tension people have with how he's kind of the perfect mold for his driving Miss Daisy character, like the mystical, magical Negro character, like the one who's always just like, he's the wise one who will have these perfect things to say, and he's always calm and collected, He's
a very easy go-to when you're like, casting the perfect film in your head. It's like, and this character obviously will be played by Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. Who's going to explain how if you unlock more than 10% in your brain, you get magical powers? Oh, Morgan Freeman. He's a very relaxing figure.
Good for exposition. Get him for the Penguin movie.
Like the moment that I just mentioned about how he was young, black, and broke, and he had to accept a job. It's like the one time in the movie that they really tackle the race issue between the two characters.
Yes.
It's a one time, and I'm not saying that this movie needs to be about that, but it's subtext.
He was born before segregation. Yeah. So.
It's subtext in the movie that it's a rich
during segregation? Yeah, my mistake.
The subtext of the movie is it's a rich white guy who's never had a care in the world, and a black man who has had to struggle throughout his entire life. And yet the emotional weight of the movie is put on the white guy learning to love again. Like, he has to accept his daughter, he has to accept this, and Morgan Freeman's whole thing is people need to accept that he should have some free time.
Give him the space he's been lacking for 65 years.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those awkward things where it's like Morgan Freeman's the one who's struggling and suffering more, but because he's Morgan Freeman, he's physically playing it like he's fine. And the character is so mild-mannered and reserved, but like his story is the much more compelling and sympathetic one. But the story's dramatic focus is on Jack Nicholson going from rich prick to lovable asshole.
Yeah, he's the one that wants to be like, hey, I'm the chill, fun one, but also he's the one that will explode if you get into, taboo territory.
They needed that scene from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where Steve Martin blows up, right? There's a scene where Steve Martin has this big explosive moment and John Candy. And then John Candy, gives him the big monologue about like his wife loves him and all this. And it's kind of like this great reminder of like, as fun as these two characters are, they are drastically different people. They come from different walks of life, and one of them has privilege and one of them doesn't. They needed to have more of those scenes, but it's mainly just about Jack Nicholson's just a little bit too eccentric, and it's more about the wife being upset that her husband's been stolen from her by Jack Nicholson, which is, I don't know, it's okay. It's an okay idea, but it's just not.
Yeah.
Because my brain just goes, well, just bring her on the trip.
Yeah. All of No, he needs space from his wife.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff about like them being from different walks of life is, I'd call it like a little spicing. It's like, oh, here's the story where they're doing things, and you know what? Just to spice it up a little bit, have some different walks of life stuff there. Like in their
it's a faith conversation. That's their relationship.
Yeah, that's a big one. But and even like when they first meet, you could maybe this is you doing it, not the film. Like read into the subtext of like, oh well, these guys would have grown up in a time where maybe they didn't interact with people like each other, so maybe this is like the first time really they've had this kind of connection with someone their own age.
And backgrounds. And how does it feel that the only way that these two could become friends is when they're humbled enough to be on equal playing field?
Yeah.
Like Jack Nicholson's character would never, like they actually kind of talk about this, like, oh, if it wasn't for the fact I'm dying, we would have, like, I wish we could have known each other to be friends. Would they? The fact that they're dying is the reason that they get to know each other and get to be friends. Like, that's the point of it. But, like, I wish the film tapped into that dynamic a bit more, that neither of them would have tolerated each other or liked each other more.
No.
There's so many movies we've done that kind of get into this without this exact format. I was thinking of the wonderful film that we did with Bernie Mac, Soul Men, with him and Sam Jackson. Like, that film had a bit of back and forth like this, and that was a film about two black men who did not get along, and it was very interesting how they still managed to tap into some of these things that I'm wishing this movie did. Also, that movie was kind of like a travel around, and we meet all these wacky characters along the way. I just can't get over just how, like, isolated this movie feels. It just feels so sterile. And that makes sense when we're in the hospital, but it doesn't make sense when we're in Egypt.
Yeah, they're sitting on the top of the pyramids and
we see their body doubles when they're actually in a physical location.
Yeah, they're basically on...
What a weird moment that was. The CG faces on the parachute scenes were awesome. Did you love that? I sent you a gif of it. It was really good.
You did. I was watching the film while during that.
Jack Nicholson's cartoon superimposed face on somebody else's body.
We'd have another look at that.
Oh my god, the scenes where they're in Egypt and it's just so green screen. It just looks... I just kept saying, whenever it popped up, I said sarcastically out loud, looks great! Looks great!
I got to see some lions. And they sang the song.
Oh, man. Yeah, they were in Jon Favreau's Lion.
When they were outside the Taj Mahal, there were two Indian people walking behind them. They weren't isolated.
Okay.
They were. I was looking at them because, you know what? I wasn't thinking of the isolation aspect at the time. It was one of those things where my brain noticed it, but I didn't. But during that outside Taj Mahal sequence where they're just talking and walking around like the water thing, my eyes were drawn to those two random Indian extras walking in the background for some reason. I think that might have been it.
Because you'd expect the Taj Mahal at the middle of the day to be more crowded.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have a photo at home of my mum sitting on the seats that would have been like right next to where they were at the end of that shot. And there are people in the background.
You have this on DVD.
Yes.
You didn't mention that.
I have it on DVD, everyone.
Who owns it? Was it your mum?
It's my mum's copy.
But you did not watch it with your mum or with your family. And Marchek, your stepbrother, he recommended this.
Yes.
So again, I'm curious of like what's the deal here? Like other members of your family love this movie enough, and you just by happenstance caught it at RE.
I don't think my mum's ever mentioned this film before. Like this, you've been to my living room. There's a whole lot of DVDs there.
Genuine question: did Marchek leave it behind?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of DVDs there. I don't even know like everything that's there. So sometimes if I'm like, I think we have a copy of that, it's a very long, painstaking process of me looking through everything there to realize, oh, we have this. I never knew about the film Down with Love until we did it on the podcast. And then one day, like a few months after we did it, I'm like, oh, we have a DVD copy of this. Cool. I like this film. And yeah, we did something a couple of weeks ago. I think it was To Be or Not To Be, probably months at this point. And I think when I was looking for that DVD, I saw, oh, we have the bucket list. That's interesting. I think that's on the list. And then when it was picked, I'm like, oh, I have a DVD copy of that.
It's funny because I know some DVDs in your collection because I just look at them. I look at them.
The ones that are front facing, yeah.
I've also physically gone through them because I was curious. So when your mum was like, oh, I'm grabbing my copy of this, I'm like, yeah, I knew you guys had that. Like, yeah, I knew your mum was a fan of Nip Tuck. When Julie McMahon died, I was like, oh no, I wonder if Bartek's mum has opinions on this because she loves Nip Tuck. It's in your DVD. It's like your mum also has the complete collection of like, I think it's In Treatment, like the Gabriel Byrne psychologist show. And I'm like, I've never seen it, but I'm like, I love Gabriel Byrne. And I love the idea of there's a half-hour drama each week where he like is dealing with a new client. And I'm like, I love that. And I was like, I don't know anyone who's watched it other than most likely Bartek's mum.
I remember you once lent me your DVD copy of True Detective Season 1. And I was like, oh, enjoy, I'll get around to watching that. And while I was watching it in the living room, I turned my eyes just to look at the DVD collection and oh, we have an exact same copy of this DVD. Whoops.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's my mum's, but you know, I don't think I've ever heard her talking about it. And with Maciek, I actually don't remember when or how he recommended this film because I tried looking through our Facebook history, and the only mention of the bucket list was me many years ago saying like, oh yeah, maybe you'd like this film. Where he asked me some sort of question about like, oh, what's a film in it that has Morgan Freeman in it? And I listed a bunch of things, and that was one of them.
There you are.
Like I even mentioned one at the end of last episode when I went home, talked to him like, oh, we're doing your next recommendation. He could not remember what it was.
Oh.
He made a guess, and it wasn't something on our list. So like, no, the bucket list. I was like, oh yeah, that.
Anything else you want to say about this movie? Any moments, any scenes, character stuff, the ending, anything? Sean Hayes is in it. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Jack from Will and Grace. The man from Cat in the Hat.
We mentioned at the beginning, but there was the big twist of, you know, Morgan Freeman's narrating the film about like, oh, the guy died. And
yes.
I just forgot his name. Cole?
Yeah, sure.
He died and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, oh, so he dies first and Morgan Freeman. But like, no. Morgan Freeman's talking from beyond about his friend's death because his friend lived 3 months after him.
We're assuming 3 months, yes.
Didn't he say in the eulogy, like, the last 3 months of his life were the best of mine or something?
Oh, okay. Because he was expected to live that long, but he lived longer.
Sorry, 3 months is how long they knew each other for.
Yes, they only knew each other for 3 months.
Yep.
But Jack Nicholson, the trivia debates this. Since Jack Nicholson was only 70 years old when he did this movie, is the indication that his character lived for another 10 years? Because he died at 81, so 10 to 11 years. And Sean Hayes physically looks older when he's burying them at the end.
Okay.
Or is it just he lived longer than the year? Because he was said to have lived only for 6 months to a year, and he lived longer than that. Morgan Freeman confirms that. So did he just manage to live longer than that? But it makes it feel like it could be either, because it's a movie where it's like, you have to believe Jack Nicholson. If you believe one version, you have to believe Jack Nicholson was 80 years old in this movie, which he does not look 80 years old in this movie. He does not look 80 years old in this movie. I'm sorry to tell you. It's not, I don't buy it.
Yeah. I think it was enough that he outlived Morgan Freeman. I don't know why we need.
I wasn't
all those
shocked by
extra-
that, by the way. I thought that was the given that Morgan was the one who dies first because he was the more calm and serene one. I'm like, oh, he's going to die first. It's just how this goes.
Yeah, fair
It's
enough.
how these movies go.
I didn't read.
Black guy dies first.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm going to say that too, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, at least it took a long time for it to happen in this film.
Yeah.
I didn't read it, but apparently Roger Ebert did a review of this where he had complaints about the fact that it was Morgan Freeman narrating about how great Jack Nicholson was when he wanted it to be the other way around.
I wouldn't mind. Could it be Jack Nicholson? Hey, it's me. This Morgan Freeman guy, it was really...
Carter, first name, by the way. Was
Ray,
a great guy.
Ray, my main man. Because he called him Ray. Because he refused to learn people's names.
Yes, that's true.
He asked him, can I call you Ray? And then he calls him Ray, my main man.
Even in the end credits, his assistant is named after what he calls him in the film.
Yeah, which is a good detail.
Not Matthew.
I
Too
don't
biblical.
No offense to Jack, but I think his voice is just too evil to have as like the wholesome narration throughout the whole movie. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure there's movies where he did it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, he was doing an impression of Cryptosporidium for some reason.
Where does this rank in the Jack Nicholson performances we've done on the pod? He even says, what are you, the devil in this movie? And I thought about, remember when he was the devil?
Well, he name-dropped Michelle Pfeiffer in the film.
Yeah, which also made me think of Witches of Eastwick.
Yeah,
I think that's
exactly.
probably the best one, right? He's so good in that.
Yeah, Prizzi's Honor's not fresh in my head, so I can't remember his performance in that.
He was very funny and romantic.
Yeah. I think maybe this is worst by default.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
But the other ones, they just stick in the head more. Shining.
Yeah.
Witches of Eastwick. I mean, I guess I did just say I didn't remember the Prizzi's Honor one, but if you say it's funny, I trust you.
You trust me.
I remember liking the film.
I have to say, Witches of Eastwick is top tier. Like
you did a monologue in school for it, right?
Yeah, and he's ice. Yeah, the whole bit where he's trying to get the ice cream, and he like smashes the glass and puts his fists in the tubs of ice cream because they're like burning his hands with the voodoo doll.
I have to check this film out again.
Yeah, it's George Miller, so you may as well check it out again. I don't have much else to say. It's the bucket list. It's not very good. It's not a very good movie, I'm sorry to say it.
It's not very good, but also not that bad.
I wouldn't recommend it. I would only recommend it if you want time to kill, because this is a movie that does fly by, but it is amazing how formulaic it is. Yeah. You could get laughs out of just how by the numbers they are. I like that some of the actors have funny names, like the British lady who hits on Morgan Freeman. Her actress's name is Rowena, which I enjoy. But other than that, it's just... I can't get past... Rob Reiner directed this. Rob Reiner is not only a great actor, but like I said, he's a well-known comedic, talented force director. He did this movie, and you're like, why did you even... Oh, it's a check. It's just a paycheck. And he gets to work with two great actors as the director. That's it. And it's like, I can't imagine being Rob Reiner, the guy who did Princess Bride and This Is Spinal Tap and so many others, and then just say, oh, and I got to work with Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman. Oh, really? What was that movie? The Bucket List. Oh. Okay. The Bucket List.
Would you recommend it for people who need to see any film with like their grandmother or something?
Maybe if they're not dying. Might be a bit of a mood kill. But it's fine. I wouldn't recommend it though. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, don't go out of your way. It's inoffensive. If you do choose to watch it, it's not gonna ruin your day, but it's gonna be like, could have picked something better.
I mentioned Larry Crown before. Watch that, because that movie has eccentric side characters.
Yeah, that film's fun.
Yeah. It's corny, but it's got something going on.
Motorcycles.
It has him with eccentric neighbors that have
Fez is in it, guys.
I forgot that Fez is in it. Fez from that 70s show. It has he has the wacky side characters like the neighbors who are always got a garage sale or yard sale on, and they're always just like hawking shit.
The only thing the film is missing is George Takei as a funny teacher. Oh wait, it has that too.
Yeah, this film could have really used a Star Trek actor. Like, this film could have really used like Nichelle Nichols as like Morgan Freeman's sister or something, you know, like Oh, Rachel had a prediction of what this movie was going to be about before we watched it, which was she thought, I said, I actually looked at it and said, do you think there's going to be a woman in this movie at all? I genuinely was like, do you think there's going to be a woman in this movie? And she said, oh.
Yeah, Rowena.
Yeah, Rowena. Rowena King, I'm pretty sure. My wife said, oh, of course there will be. There will be some actress that shows up as like a love interest for the both of them to pursue, and she basically laid out Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and I said, which actress? And she went real silent. Like, oh, I didn't think of that far ahead. And then I said, no, give me an actress. And Rachel picked another witch from Witches of Eastwick. She said, oh, Susan Sarandon. And I just smacked my head and go, she would actually be perfect for this. As like a random woman that they meet on their foreign adventures, they bump into her and she's like, oh, it's me, I'm
that could have been Sarandon. That could have been the second reference to Witches of Eastwick. That's two of the three ladies.
That's two of three. And then
who's the third one?
Cher,
of course.
How could you forget?
They could have listened to a Cher song at some point, and then boom, 3 for 3.
Morgan Freeman loves Cher. No, she's one of the trivia facts on Jeopardy. That would be
that's a good
that would have been neat. Okay.
Oh, there was a trivia like, that one time it wasn't an episode. They actually recorded it for the film.
Yeah, people spend time on that to do that. It's weird that they put in the effort for that.
Yeah, in the credits, the Alex Trebek or whatever his name is credited himself.
So, what are you recommending for our next film to discuss on the podcast?
I had to think about this one. I eventually filtered my thoughts down to like, okay, I want to do something that has these elements. And it took a while, but I settled on something. It's a film that we have mentioned once before, long, long ago. And it has an actor in it that I think we've only seen once before on the podcast. It is I haven't memorized what year it is. Let me just quickly check.
Oh, no.
I know the title, but the year is important. It's from the 60s.
Oh.
The 1967 film, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
What actor have we had?
Sidney Poitier, right?
Sidney
In the Heat of the Night?
In the Heat of the Night, of course. How could I have forgotten? We've never had a Katharine Hepburn in our...
I actually think I've never seen a Katharine Hepburn film.
You may never have. African Queen is great. Her and Humphrey Bogart on a boat. That's the movie. It's awesome. You may never have.
Yeah.
That's such a sadness. She's so good. So we'll fix that next time.
It felt like, oh yeah, I've surely seen her in one or two things. I looked at the filmography. Nope.
No, she was an interesting real life figure.
In this episode, when we started talking about the race relation stuff, it just occurred to me like, oh, that's appropriate for my next pick.
Sidney Poitier, we shall see you again. What a great actor he was. But we shall be talking about Guess Who's Coming to Dinner next time on the podcast.
Please.
We've already covered the... Please clap.
Please let us.
Please let us. I will make a note for you.
Okay.
This is my only note. It will be cryptic, but it will be interesting. Look at the glasses. That's all I'll say.
Like Oculens glasses?
You take that.
Okay.
You take. If I give you, I'm already saying too much, but just look at the glasses.
I think I'm getting the sense that you've seen this film before.
I think I mentioned that when we did Guess Who?
Yeah.
The famous Bernie Mac, Ashton Kutcher, Zoe Saldana drama. But we shall be back next time to talk about the original Guess Who? Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
We're going to see the original Percy Jones.
The original Percy Jones. Yeah.
if there's no Percy Jones in the film, I think that on its own is going to be a not.
His name will be Percival.
Percival Jonas.
Yeah, Jones.
It's pronounced Jones.
Yes, like the brothers. Like the Jonas brothers.
Good like Christian boys, the Jonas brothers.
They are good. They were good Christian boys. I don't know if they are now, but and in the 1960s, they predicted the Jonas brothers. I've listened to this band called the Jonas Brothers. And it's like, What? And then he grabs out like his MP3.
Okay, I already recommend that film.
Okay, so that is it. You can find us on social medias on Facebook and Twitter, Spit and Polish Presents. You can email us, let us know your thoughts, and give us your recommendations through those socials or YouTube comments or our email, which is...
The email address is spitandpolished@gmail.com. And if you didn't hear it, it was spitandpolished@gmail.com.
If you need to find these, they're all in the description of the episode at your fingertips. That is it. Make sure to share our show around, rate and review. But to wrap this out on, I have to ask Bartek a very important question. And this is a serious question. I know you're wanting to answer with a joke, but I'm asking genuinely, and I'll answer you genuinely.
Okay.
What would you put on your bucket list? What's one thing you would put on your bucket list?
Well, I'm kind of going through it, but learning Japanese.
Not going to Japan?
I'd rather learn the language, but certainly go to Japan would be a nice thing to do.
Yeah. Well, if the bucket list indicates like you are, nearing your end.
Mm.
Yeah.
I guess it would be easier to go to a place than to learn a language, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point, though. Like, you are currently learning Japanese. You're in the early stages. But, yeah. I don't know. I've always had a trouble with this because with these type of things, that's just never been my interest. But I always... I would love to, for my bucket list, I'd love to visit one of these, like, Hollywood film sets. I would just love to go to, like, the Paramount lot or the Warners, one of those type of things. Just
You've never left the country, have you?
I've never left the country.
Yeah.
So maybe it's time for me to go to Bollywood and see Shah Rukh Khan play a little person in real life.
Yeah, go to his house. I'm sure it'll be isolated and you can be the only one waving at him from his daily balcony visit.
I thought you were going to say I will be in his house on the balcony and I'm waving at the people and they're like, yay.
It'll just be...
It's a white boy.
It'll just be you and your friend. No one else. And I want Shah Rukh Khan, of course.
And visit Poland, of course. And try out their water that they love in Poland.
Yeah, buy some... carbonated water.
Try out the spiciest Indian food in the world, according to Bartek.
That I've had.
Yeah.
The spiciest curry from Indian restaurant in Warsaw.
There you go.
Sorry, correction about the Shah Rukh Khan thing. It'll be isolated other than 2 Indian people walking away from Shah Rukh Khan's front yard.